Why is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
I was at a wedding recently, and with this particular uh, cadre of friends, group of people, there was a preponderance of something that I haven't seen a lot of, and I saw it enough times at this wedding that made me think about it and ask your question, ask your take on this. Cleavage tattoos.
Mm. Okay.
Why? Slash, where am I supposed to look?
Well, don't you think you get a cleavage tattoo because you want people to look?
I would think, because like
Yeah.
you in your mind, you're going like, I'm supposed to make eye contact with you, but I see a dolphin jumping out of there.
Right.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
And there's a lot of them. And I was
Oh,
just like,
there are a lot of them.
I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do about this. I don't know how to respond.
Well, I think you just keep your sunglasses on and then you're fine.
Well, yes, but like if you're inside, then you're completely in trouble.
But I feel like if you have a tattoo anywhere
Mhm.
and you have it to where the world can see it,
Right.
then you are welcoming people to view it.
Yes. I don't know, but cleavage
otherwise-
tattoo is another thing, is another level of
But
like,
it isn't, because you can, I'm saying everyone should wear what they want to wear. But if you are not comfortable with your cleavage tattoo being on view,
mhm.
I'm not saying someone should like stare at it like out of a cartoon,
Right. No,
but to acknowledge
you're not trying to
it.
fry ants off of it. You're just
Right,
trying to see what
exactly.
the hell it is.
Right. And then I feel if you are uncomfortable with that, then maybe a like boat neck dress is the way to go.
And it's just one of these things. I saw a lot of people at this wedding had a series of tattoos on them that were so disparate and unconnected, where it's sort of like, I have no idea what you're going for here.
Mhm.
Like I understand some people have one on the forearm or on a finger, on a hand, or there's like a more intricate sleeve or something on the shoulder. But this was just such a random assortment of crap where I was
Right.
just like, there was no foresight. How is it that most people can pull off enough foresight to kind of go like, this looks like I meant to do that. Like this
Yeah.
looks like I meant to. And what occasion are you like, I need flipper right here?
I know. See, that's the bigger question.
Because then all I can think of when I look at this person is that, that dolphin sound.
Yes.
It was really
Yes.
difficult. It was
That
just,
would be very
it was a
difficult.
long
I would not.
afternoon.
Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. I don't know. It would not be my
Congratulations, I'm
choice.
so happy for you.
Right.
Yeah. That was my
Yeah.
big question. Like
I mean,
what's the mindset that gets to that?
well, right. And I don't know.
And it's usually something small, so you really got to take a second. But then on top of that, with all these weird disparate, like, it's like you can have Pac-Man on one arm and Spider-Man on another,
Right.
and then like Mario is riding Pac-Man somewhere. It's like these things do not,
They don't.
it's not
Right.
part of the same multiverse. It's just this weird assortment of suddenly you're a sailor on one shoulder and the
Well,
other
you're
one
always a
it's
sailor on one. You have to always be a sailor on at least one shoulder.
You do? You got to get like
Mhm.
an anchor and
Something. There has to be something. Pin-up girl with a little sailor outfit, an
that'd be
anchor,
great. Oh my, that would be perfect.
pirate, skull and crossbones. There has to be some sort of
Yeah, no,
sailing
that
the
would be
seas
good. Sure.
references.
Yeah. It was just the weirdest assortment of tattoos that I could not make neither head nor tail of.
Hmm.
Because again, it's like not for me, maybe for
Right.
some other people.
Mhm.
And I, how is it that so many people are able to get it right to make it look like this is an intentional thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
We have so many friends of the show who have been able to do this in a form and an order
Right.
where you're like, you didn't approach it from day one of here is my drawing that I want to have copied onto my body and I'm going to have to do it piecemeal.
Right. I don't know.
it's just like, it's some part of me feels like you've got to try really hard to make it look that bad.
Well, yeah, or pay very little for your artwork.
Mm. Or be in prison. I don't know. One
I
of
don't
those
know. Any of
things.
the above will really work.
Yeah. The obvious joke would be you knew you were going to be coming back on the show, or
I did.
did
I
it?
intuitively knew.
See, I knew it.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sure when. My guides didn't tell me that part, but I knew
They're
I'd be
never
back
they're
on.
never
Yeah,
specific, those guides.
I know. I know.
Someti- Sometimes they are. Connie has given me some very specific things over the years.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that. Yeah, they can be, all jokes aside, yeah, they definitely can be specific, very specific, depending on what people have going on or what they wanna tell us. We don't really have control over spirit.
Mm-mm.
They have a mind of their own. They really do. They really have the same personalities that they had when they were here, and before they crossed over. It's interesting because we'll find that some will, if they were quiet when they were here, they will, even when we do readings,
Mhm.
they'll be quiet and wait for all the other people to go. And next thing you know, they'll just come through at the end,
Mhm.
and just like they did when they were here on Earth. It's interesting.
That's so funny. I know one of
Yeah.
my first experiences with you, Connie, was with one of our, we call her our reluctant executive producer, who actually connected all of us the first time. And I'd spoken to mediums and psychics in the past, and my dad passed when I was quite young and had never come through to anyone. My dad was very fun and super jovial and outgoing, but did not like to talk about feelings or anything difficult or any of that. And so it was really, the first time I was really sad at first, but then it made total sense because he came through during Sandy's reading, not mine, but was very, very pushy and pushed all of her relatives out of the way to get the message to me, but very much wasn't like, well, I'm not going to have this emotional thing happen with this person I love so dearly, but I'm going to make sure the message gets to her through Connie, through Sandy, to her. So it is like that resonated so much, like, well, yeah, that totally makes sense. That they are very similar. So Laura, it's your first time joining us.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Tell us a little bit about you and how you and Connie got together and all the wonderful things you're doing both together and separately in this world.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, I do readings as well. I'm a medium, a psychic intuitive. And I got started in this. I had a spiritual experience back in 2010, and I had always had the connection with spirit, but when I was younger, it scared me. I had a lot of the negative spirits or the things that people are afraid of, and so that's why I really turned my gifts off. And then when I had my spiritual experience in 2010, it was very loving. It was like what I would consider having a near-death experience, but I was awake because what I saw and what I experienced was like a 3-hour process. And I actually wrote a book about it. It's called The Keys to Your Higher Self. It's available on my website. But the whole premise of it was to help people to understand how spirit connects with us and that we all have access to our guides and our angels. And they also want us to connect with them. Loved ones on the other side, their intention is to help us. And same thing with your angels and your guides. And so from that place, when I had my spiritual experience, I also had some things come back from my past connected to trauma. And so I also had to go through the healing process with my guides and my angels to get through that. And that's what I talked about a lot in my book too. And it's the reason that I do what I do is because I really want people to know that we can heal and that we can find peace and happiness. And that's what led me to Connie too, is my spiritual experience. And I was trying to figure out what it all meant. And then I met Connie. She was teaching spiritual growth classes out of her house. And we just connect right off the bat. We had so much fun. And so ever since then, we've been, doing readings and having fun.
So I feel
Go
like
ahead.
I
Go
feel
for
like
it.
I need to chime in here and sort of say I am the skeptic in the room. I
Okay,
don't
that's
I
okay, Luke.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
I don't
Yeah.
completely buy all of this, but I'm willing to hear offers. So
Okay.
um
I think that's a challenge.
well, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you could take it as that way. But does everybody have these sort of spirits over them, around them, surrounding them, whether or not they hear them or have someone like you two interpreting them and bringing them to the forefront and saying, "Shut up and listen"?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether or not you listen, that's totally up to you. Whether you want to follow their guidance, it's totally up to you. It's kind of like think about and when you're driving down the road and you have this feeling, oh, I should go this direction and not that direction. Or you have an intuitive feeling about a person, let's say a gut feeling that somebody isn't a good person. That's what we're talking about. But it's about really tuning into that and listening to it, and you have the choice to or not. And think about a time when you decided, you know what, I'm going to go against that. When you went against your intuition, your intuitive voice was telling you something and you didn't follow it, and you're like, shoot, I really should have gone and listened to my intuition. That's really what it is. On a bigger scale, what Connie and I do is, we're really tuning into spirit. We're setting the intention that we want to connect with people's loved ones to deliver messages for them, but everybody has the ability to do it. It doesn't really even, it doesn't matter if you believe or not, because they still will help us and guide us no matter what.
So how do you get them on the blower, as it were? Do you
Pardon
need
me?
music? How do you talk to your guides? How do you beckon them? Because obviously, I mean, if they were always there, they're always present, I'm
Correct.
assuming, or are they guiding other
Yes.
folks like Tuesdays and
All the above.
Thursdays? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
The
need
thing
a
about guides
candle?
and
Do you need
angels
music?
and your love, not necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
first we have to chant, and then we have to sit there and om for an hour. And I'm kidding, we don't have to do that.
Okay.
I was gonna say something else, but I
I
want
would
to
have
keep it
fallen
clean.
for it. I would have been ordering robes if you told me to.
No, once you strengthen that, it's just like a muscle. And this is how I explain it to people. Let's say, like, remember I said everybody has the gift. I was raised with this, and this was my normal. But other people have a spiritual awakening, and their gifts can come just like that. There is no better and no worse. We're exactly the same. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Now, other people can develop the gifts as they go. It'd be like a person who wants to work out and they go to a gym. And if they've never worked out before, they're not going to pick up a 500-pound weight and try to bench it, right? They're
Sure.
going to have to work up. They're going to have to work that muscle and gain that strength. So that's what it's kind of the same thing with the spiritual. It is the same thing with your spiritual gifts. You got to work the muscle, right? But people are getting information. I guarantee you, they're just not realizing it's spirit.
See,
And
that's what,
yeah.
I'm sorry. That's one of the
No, go
things
ahead.
that I wanted to touch on with both of you that we've kind of been dancing around a little bit, but as you've both mentioned, that people can hone these gifts themselves to a certain level to be able to do their own communication. And among all the other wonderful things you're doing, you are both launching a new program the beginning of May that where people can take advantage of that. Can you share a little bit about that and what's involved with that, and that it isn't an hour of chanting and robes, that it's all going to be okay?
Almond Brothers Records. Yeah.
Candles, black candles. No, I'm kidding. It's not it. Yeah, not at all. So Connie and I, we've done a lot of different courses. And the last one that we just did was a manifesting course. And so that was so much fun. And we decided, you know what, let's do a spirit course, because we haven't done one of those in a little while. This one is going to be basically, it's an 8-week course to unlock your spiritual gifts, and anybody can do it. It's about learning about how you receive your information. And so we're going to talk about the clairs. The clairs are like clairaudient, clairvoyant. Do you see things in your mind's eye? Do you feel things in your physical body? And there's a lot of talk about empaths and being empathic and what that means. So we're going to talk a lot about that in the program. We're going to cover all of that. But everybody has their own spiritual gifts. Sometimes you have a couple different ways of receiving messages. And sometimes, you can receive messages in all ways. Both Connie and I receive messages in all ways. Sometimes we'll smell things or taste things. And, I'll be like, what is that? I'm tasting, pizza. And they're like, oh yeah, we just had pizza yesterday. Or usually it's something that's unique or different, like a pickle or, just something odd. I just had one, like I was tasting like mustard and I'm like, what is this? Well, they
Like
love,
a
hot
Dijon or a
mustard.
honey? Oh, hot
Yeah,
mustard. Okay.
exactly.
Ooh.
Interesting. All right.
That's exactly right. Dijon. Yeah. Dijon honey. That's right. And
He's
it
very
is
classy.
unique.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So we're going to just break down everything about how spirit communicates with people. And it's not scary. That's the thing. We want to take the fear out of it. We want people to feel comfortable and safe. And, there's like I was saying earlier too, how my spirit connection in the very beginning when I was young it scared me. But then I had this dream that there was chocolate hidden in my parents' closet. And I literally was like, I'm going to go see if it's there.
Yeah, let's hear
And
this
I
out.
did. I was real little too. And that was one of like my favorite, dreams, premonition dreams. And I went and I got a chair and I got up in the top of the closet, and the chocolate in my dream was a lot better than the real chocolate that I found.
Classic.
But it was still there.
Yeah.
But it was still there. Yes. Yeah. And so there were things that I had to really learn, and I had to allow myself to feel safe with. And that's where my spiritual experience came in. And then it was like Connie said, it just, all the doors opened, and, I was so curious and I wanted to know everything that I could. And it happened very quickly. So it was like from that point, then I was really allowing it. There are a lot of people who have those gifts who are afraid to allow themselves to tune into that. And that's what we want to do, is take away the fear, and that also bring forward understanding of how they want to help us in all aspects of our lives. That's why it's so beneficial to be connecting with your loved ones and spirit, because they really will help you on the path, figuring out what your life purpose is, figuring out, should I go this way or should I go that way? And they'll tell you and they'll help you. Like Connie said, they want to guide you. They're not going to always tell you the exact answer, but if you really listen, you're going to feel which way is the way that they would tell you would be the best way that you're going to get the most benefit from. You can always feel that when you get resistance, and when you start to tune into that resistance, and regardless of what other people think or say about what your choices are, that's how that's the way to go. And you always want to tune into your own inner guidance, and that's another thing too. Other people will tell you this is what you should do, or this is what you should do. But when you really listen to your intuition and your intuitive voice, that is always going to lead you in the direction for your own happiness and joy and peace.
And so people in 8 weeks can open these doors and find these answers?
Yep.
Yeah,
Do they get a diploma?
they do. They get
Oh
a
my
certificate.
God,
Yeah,
this is
you are
amazing.
so right. They get a certification.
Oh,
I think
wow.
Luke's going to join us.
Yes, he is. He's
Okay.
going to love this.
I
He's going to love this.
I know he's
course.
gonna
I got to
love
get
it.
some more
Yeah.
candles up in here, but okay.
Luke's
Don't
our
get your
skeptic,
incense.
but don't let him fool you. I come back with info, and
Well,
whether
I
he
just want to
admits it or
hear them
not, he
out. And
embraces
if
it.
it's good news, then okay, let's take this. Let's run with this.
He likes the intel I bring back.
I'm just saying, if everyone wants good news,
Yes,
this is what I'm saying.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And is there a limited number of how many people can sign up, or is it open? Is it in person? Is it virtual? How is the course run?
Go ahead.
Good question. It's all virtual. And at this point, there's not really technically a limit, at least right now. We'll see. But yes, so it's all virtual, online, and you can go at your own pace. So how it's set up is we have it pre-recorded, so that way people can watch. There's 8 different modules, and then there's different lessons within the modules. So they can actually, they can listen wherever they are if they want. Anybody has a cell phone these days. You can actually access it from there. It's very easy to access it. And then from there, we also do a live each week. So that way, if people have questions, and we're also going to give opportunities that people can practice. So that way they can feel safe. It's a very safe place for them to be able to share and to be able to, open up and really I'm not going to say test her abilities because it's not a test. It's more about validation, I guess. That's a great word to use. And it's interesting because some of them will start out not saying anything. Like we'll pick one. So people get free readings out of there too, because we'll pick one person and everybody focuses on the person. And then they, they practice whatever the lesson is that week on how to get the information. And some people won't say anything until the end. They're like, oh my gosh, I got the very same thing. And then they feel very safe knowing, because at first people are a little shy, not wanting, like, I don't know if this really means anything. This is a thing about spirit. When they speak to us, even, we don't know most of the time why they're showing us something. We just relay all the information. Spirit is so good about the person knowing exactly what it is. This is a prime example. This was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you've ever seen Shameless. Have you seen Shameless?
Of course.
We're in the middle of it. We're on season 10. But when I was doing the reading, I kept seeing this image of this scraggly guy with the long hair, and the gruff beard. And I'm like, and I didn't even realize that I had written Frank down earlier a couple times. That's his name. The character's name on Shameless is Frank. So as I was going through I'm like, gosh, I keep seeing this guy. I'm like, I go, have you ever seen Shameless? She says, no, but everyone tells me I need to see that show. And at this point, I didn't know why they had said that. Well, then as I kept going, I'm telling you, this guy looked just like the Shameless one. So it ended up coming out that she lived that exact same life. Frank, who was the guy who kept coming through, that name, was a drunk in the movie. And her father was an alcoholic on the other side, exactly like Frank. And that night before, we had just watched the episode where, hopefully I'm not a spoiler alert if no one has seen this, but we had just watched the episode of where the oldest daughter went to court to get custody of all the siblings.
Oh, yeah.
That was her life. She had to do that. She had to get custody of all of her siblings because her dad was an alcoholic, just like Frank, and in and out. So they will even do stuff like that. Like they will project an image to get us to what their message is. When her dad was trying to apologize and ultimately did apologize for, how he was and what happened and how he had lived his life and the choices that he had made. But that's what we love to do. It's healing. It's really, really healing, especially when you can actually connect on your own for those who are grieving, who have lost a loved one, and you realize your soul never dies, just our physical body, but your soul is always there. And that pizza that Laura brought up earlier, that was a great example, like how they will give validating information. So they will give validating information to be able to say like who they are, because they love to bring things up that people are doing. They'll bring things up that who they're talking to. And Heidi, you probably remember that. They'll bring all kinds of crazy stuff up, TV shows that they're watching, foods they're eating, people who they're communicating with, conversations they've had. They'll bring all that up to let you know that they are with you. So that is the beauty of it.
It is. And sometimes they do I had that experience with you last time. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good bagel, but I hadn't had a bagel in 4 years. And I had happened to spend the night at a hotel and had that awful breakfast in the morning. And the only thing I could eat is one of those nasty, not even like real bagels. And right away, you're like, bagels? Did you eat a bagel? And I'm like, actually, I did. It was so bizarre because it was so out of character that would have happened. And even messages, as we kind of mentioned, that come through, not just what my personal story with the message that came in for me, but messages that come through sometimes that I was able to pass on to other people that was actually for someone else I cared about is also a really lovely thing, and sort of gave me a small taste of what it's like to be able to be that conduit between those things. And I had a friend who just went through very serious surgery they were terrified about, and his dad came through and we were talking, and I was able to give him a message that literally changed his whole outlook on his surgery immediately, just that brief little thing. So yes. So in addition,
we do it.
It's amazing.
I eagerly await the day, Heidi, when you just start talking about Burt Reynolds a lot, and I'm just going to start rubbing my hands together and like, oh my God, the bandit's here.
Yes.
Okay, but you were saying, sorry.
Because Burt Reynolds is going to come through.
Oh my, wait, Connie, you're making a face. What?
You
Please.
joke, But seriously, I have a client and I did not know she was an actress, and her personal friend was Burt Reynolds, and he did come through in a reading.
Oh
I
my
That's
cannot
God.
believe
amazing.
you
Oh my
just said
God.
that. Literally, I swear.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
What color was the
Yeah.
Trans Am?
Pardon?
What color was this Trans Am?
Black?
Okay. No, I'm just wondering. It's if anyway.
Smokey in the bandit. That's not it. That was a trick question.
Yes.
Oh no, there's a black one as well. So wow, that's amazing.
That's of all the mustachioed studs of the 70s.
Who could walk through that door?
Who could walk through that door?
I
It
can't
was
believe you
Bert.
brought him. But see, spirit, that is exactly how spirit communicates. They'll bring
Listen.
stuff up just like that.
Oh my
That
God.
is,
If I
you
get to
think is
communicate,
random.
if I get to communicate with the spirit of Burt Reynolds, I will be a happy, happy boy.
You're one
Well,
I
one
know. What
degree
about
away
is Lonnie
right now.
Anderson still with us? Was she?
Yes.
Okay, so she won't be communicating with me.
Not yet.
Okay,
I
not
mean,
yet. The
we
hope
can
Maybe
the,
talk to
pretend
Eloise.
yeah,
if it makes you feel better.
yeah, the heartstrings eternal. Okay.
But if you know what, if you join our spirit school, Luke, then
Mhm.
you might just be able to communicate with Bert.
Oh
I mean, I'm gonna dangle that carrot out there.
Right.
wow, that is quite the carrot. That is. All right, I got to take a knee and just think about this for a second. You want to go, Heidi?
Yes. So in addition to the spirit school, you've got a lot of other courses you're doing and a lot of other wonderful things, as well as an amazing social media presence where people can come on and see a card pulled every day with wisdom and advice of things that are happening. As well as one of the funniest April Fools I've ever seen, by the way. The number of people who freaked out over your April Fools joke wasn't cruel, it was funny. But they made an announcement on April Fool's Day that they were no longer going to be doing the cards of the day, and people lost their minds. So if you don't follow the Michigan Medium Angels on social media, you need to start, because it's a great place to find those every day and to learn more about things you're doing. But in addition to those elements, what are some other aspects of things going on right now that you'd like listeners to know about or to tune in or be a part of?
You have an event coming up.
I
Going-
do.
yeah.
Yeah, I just had Chicago. I did an open
Nice.
forum in front of a group. Yeah, sold out show. So that was awesome. Then I have another one in the UP in Marquette on June 10th. And then in Northville on July 13th. And let's see, we have a Facebook Live where we're going to be giving free readings. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but May 1st. As well, so that they can tune in for some free readings and get a little sample of what it is. And I'm currently writing a book, which should hopefully be out in this summer, very soon, hopefully, on how to change your life by simply shifting your energy. And it just gives some tips and tools to be able to, if you basically aren't liking where things are going, or you want to enhance or change, it's how to shift the energy of different things to get what you want. And I know Laura mentioned her book too. What's your website where they can, it is a great book, by the way. It has a lot of great info, not just about intuition, but also like your daily life. And I'm not just saying that because we do this together.
She's sitting
It
here
really
right next to
truly
you.
is.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, she did pay me.
There you go.
No, it really truly is. So what's your website for that?
It's my name. It's Laura Ashley Abraham.com. And that's the book that that is on there. It's The Keys to Your Higher Self. So it's a channeled book too. So it's there's a lot of information about how to connect if you want to do that. And I talk a lot about how my healing journey, really. And that's another book actually that I'm in the process of writing right now too, is talking about my healing, because I want to go more in depth. And I do a lot of that work with my coaching clients, especially when people are really struggling or having a hard time or working through blocks. I love doing that. I love doing the healing coaching, and I use a lot of different modalities. Same thing with Connie too, but specifically because of the trauma that I experienced as a child, and the abuse that I went through. That's why I want to really be able to help people. And I was able to really get through that and find peace and happiness. And that's what I want to help other people to do, because that it's hard to find that. It's hard to find. I saw a counselor for a long time, but finding people that really know how to get to helping somebody really work through trauma, that can be a little bit more difficult. I had a harder time with that. So that's one of the things that I really want to be able to share my gift in being able to do that. So, but they can find me and reach out to me on my website. Go ahead, Tink.
Yeah, real quickly too. She's really good at coaching as well. So if somebody's really struggling with emotion, like really having a hard time get through some emotional trauma, I don't do it as much anymore, but I know, and she is really, really good. Yeah, you can see the testimonials, right? I think they're on Facebook and even on, as people, like you said, on our Facebook page as well, they'll put that stuff on there.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for both of you, but for Laura especially, you were able to have your own journey through your childhood and your sort of coping and dealing with it and moving past it. How hard is it to do this with other people? Are you taking on so much of their, what they've been through? Are you able to, and it might be too personal, but it seems like
it's a
it's
great question.
It's a lot to take on somebody else's trauma and try to help them through that. Like, how do you kind of draw that line and separate it and go back home and do your stuff? Or do you just sort of spend days and days afterwards going, I can't believe this person went through this, or that they had to go through this?
That's a great question. I look at it as, the reason that I went through what I went through is to be able to help other people, because I want to be able to give back. And I know there's a way through it because I have healed from it. And so I know how to help people do that. And I will use different modalities depending on what their guides and angels will show me to do. And I do a lot of also like meditative work during a session, but I'm guided and I'm shown where I need to go to be able to heal somebody or help them to be able to heal. And when you were just talking about that too, the do I take on that? I will have compassion and understanding for their experience, but I don't take it personally on. Being an empath, both of us, we have had to learn how to do that. When we connect with spirit, we have to be able to set healthy boundaries and to be able to, release those cords from people. But, I will feel for them. And, there are times where I will get really emotional, but at the same time, I know we all have a reason for what we've gone through in our lives. And so, and same thing, that's what we learn connecting with spirit and connecting with the other side. We each have our own life journey and we have our own life path. And what I have seen is to be able to use anything that is a negative, what you would consider to be negative, to turn it around into a positive and to not let that stop you from finding joy and peace and happiness. We each have the ability to do that. And I am very clear about not taking on this stuff from other people, but definitely being there as a support for them and knowing and holding a space too, definitely holding a vibrational space for somebody for their healing. And everybody has a decision if they want to go down that road. It's not an easy journey to heal from trauma or from abuse. It really is difficult to do. But I am, here because of that, because I shouldn't be here. And I am here because I made that decision that I really wanted to learn. And I wanted to heal from what had happened to me and not let that hold me back from my purpose. I used to be a court reporter, I used to be a freelance court reporter. Connie used to have, her own company. And this was so important to us. And this is our life mission. We want to be able to help people. And so that's the reason that we're doing this. Both of us is to be able to do that. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah. And how often when you're doing readings or counseling or work with somebody, do either one of you find something that comes through that is supposed to be for you? And how do you just kind of go like, I'm gonna dog ear this
I
and
just
save
had
this
that
for
the other
later?
day, actually. I just had that the other day. It's so funny because I was like, oh, that's a message for me. Because they were saying you better get on your book and you better do your stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to do that. My meditations, I love to channel meditations and I have so many and I just don't have them out. We've, put them in our classes and our courses, but I don't have them on my website. I don't let, but sometimes we have a hard time doing the detail stuff, the computer stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
I just want to do the connecting,
I know.
I want
I
to,
know.
I want to help people. And so they literally will give us messages too when we're doing a reading. Yeah.
We got to get you somehow. You're too busy.
So yeah, have you gotten any message while we've been talking for Heidi and how she can improve on the show?
No, but Luke, you and I need to talk. I'm
Oh
just
boy,
saying
Jesus,
afterwards.
here we go.
Call me.
Call her, Luke.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I don't really get a lot for me, but once in a great while. But sometimes I'll get stuff for her or
Yeah.
vice versa. But one thing too is sometimes people will say, like, I used to feel, let's say, my dad, and I don't feel him anymore. Is he still around? Why do I not feel him? He must not be around me. One thing too is to keep in mind is you actually get used to the vibration. So it's not that the person is not around you. So those of you who are listening, who are maybe somebody must have had a question about this because your spirit's really good about bringing up things. But it's really about once I'm like attuned into the vibration, like I don't really hear my loved ones anymore because I'm used to them, or maybe I don't need them right now. This is something that we're going to teach in this school, but this gives an example. We there's a reason and a purpose of why we have certain guides and angels around us at the time that we do. There's so many guides and angels out there that are around you, and we break that down in the school. But the main thing too is, especially when you start ascending, our whole mission, our only purpose to be here on earth is to ascend. It's to evolve and grow spiritually. So the more things that we do, like taking these classes or to help open up our spiritual gifts, or to start choosing a different path instead of destruction, it's more construction, or happier as opposed to the lower vibrations, whatever the case is. The more we do that, the higher up that we go. Well, as you vibrate higher, we all have a frequency. How many times have you been around someone and somebody you're like, oh wow, I'm just got drained after being around that person, or
Tell me
oh my
about it.
gosh, I just what'd you say?
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Or you're around someone who has a high vibe and you're like, wow, I feel like I can run a marathon now. It's because everybody has a frequency, and the more we evolve, the higher frequency we get. So when we do that, we actually get new guide. You have some that stay with you for life, which we'll talk about in the course, but you actually do get higher vibrating guides as you go along in this process. It's just like school. You finished kindergarten and you get a new teacher because you graduated, you've moved past that point. And then you go to, after first grade, you go to second grade, you get a new teacher for the most part, most people do. Same thing with spirit school, same thing with spirit. You actually, each time you evolve and you grow a little bit, you get another higher vibrating guide that's going to help you.
For more information about Spirit School, to schedule private readings, and a bunch of other things, you can check out Connie's website. She's at ConnieWarriorOfLight.com. Laura is at LauraAshley-Abraham.com. And for both of them, they are at MichiganMediumAngels.mykajabi, which is spelled MyKajabi.com.
Why the Podcast is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts because we're shallow and need constant validation. For more information, you can check out our website, whythepodcast.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hedquist and myself from our world headquarters, located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?